Good evening. Let us understand the problem without synchronization. Okay, so as I said earlier, if we don't follow synchronization, the output will not be consistent. The output will not be consistent. So we'll be facing the problem of inconsistency. Okay, so see the example here. We have class table and it has a method called as print table. Okay, and this method is not synchronized. Okay, yeah this method is not synchronized. Okay, the method is not synchronized, and hence this will result in a problem. Okay, so here we are trying to print, okay, five times a number. Okay, for example, if I is 5, then we'll be printing 5. Okay, till 5 times we'll be printing 5. Okay, multiplication the number 5 times. Okay, so here this loop will be iterating for 5 times. Okay, each time multiplying I with the respective input what we are passing. Okay, yeah, so if at all we are passing n as 5, then first time it prints 5 ones are 5, then again it prints 5 twos are, okay, 10, like that. It prints for 5 times. Okay, so now you're associating here a thread. Okay, to pause the first what thread after printing these 5, okay, numbers. Yeah, so how many seconds you're pausing it? For 400 seconds you're passing it. Okay, and then you're trying to print an exception message, exception e. Okay, if at all there is some interrupts occurred. Okay, so it will throw you this exception. Now you're creating threads here. You're creating two threads in this program. One is thread 1 and another one is thread 2. Okay, so instead of doing it in separate classes, we can also do it in the same class itself. Okay, but here slight difference. Yes, so you're creating two thread classes. One is my thread 1 and another one is my thread 2. So in the previous videos we know how to create thread by extending thread class, right? So class my thread 1 extends thread, so means you're creating a thread here. Okay, and we know the threads are associated with the class on which we are working it, correct? So now we are what, creating a reference for the previous class table. Okay, and now we are passing that reference here in this my thread 1 constructor. Okay, and now we are treating the first thread to work with the object t. Okay, to work with the object t of the class table, okay. Yes, so if you don't have this my thread 1 over here, then directly here itself what you will do, you will create an object called table t equals new table of, correct? And then again if you want second thread, you will have table t2 equals new table of. So now you would have two threads over here, it's a t and t1, correct? But here they have just created two more threads to make it clear, and but still now we are working only with the previous class. Okay, so what we should do, create reference for the previous class table and pass that reference in the constructor of my thread 1, in the constructor of my thread 1. And then now the past, okay, reference, you are mapping it to the current what, local variable, current class reference variable. So this dot t is equal to t. Okay, so this always refers to current class reference. This always refers to current class reference. So current class reference variable t, this dot t equals the past reference object, equals the past reference object. Okay, and then for the first thread, for the thread 1, For the thread 1, you're using the run method. Okay, you're using the run method for what? Executing it. Okay, so in the run method, in the action part, you're writing what action to should take place with respect to this thread. Okay, so t dot print table of 5. Yeah, t dot print table of 5. So t, correct? So we are going to refer which table? This table, right? Yeah, so we need to access it using this class names reference object, correct? So table, okay, object dot print table of 5. Yes, understanding now? Yeah, so table t, we have created object for the previous class, and t dot print table, we are passing value as 5, so it will print 5 tables. Now see, so this thread 1 is using what? The method print table, correct? Is using the method print table. Okay, and this is a shared resource. Print table is your shared resource which is being utilized by two threads. Okay, see here, my thread 2 is also using print table. Okay, with different values, but also the resource is what here? The shared common resource, or the shared common method over here is print table, which is being utilized by two different threads, correct? So now here, once this my thread 1 got access to this print table method, okay, since this print table method is not synchronized, okay, the particular resource called as print table is not locked, okay, by thread 1. It is not locked by thread 1. Okay, so for first iteration, it will permit thread 1 to access it. Then during second iteration, it will give thread 2 to access it. Okay, so we'll be ending up with data inconsistency problem. You can see this. Yeah, see, the same thing is happening in the thread 2, and thread 2 is also trying to access the thread 2 is also trying to access the print table. Thread 2 is also trying to access the print table. Okay, and now coming to your test synchronization. Yeah, see here in test synchronization, so we are creating main method and we are creating object for the table class. Okay, and we are creating only one object, and here you can see my thread t1 equals new my thread 1 of obj. So we are passing the previous class reference, correct? Similarly here again, my thread 2 t2 equals new my thread 2 of obj, right? So this my thread 1 of obj and this my thread 2 of obj, okay, will call what? Will call what? Constructors of my thread 1, right? See here, yeah, constructors of my thread 1. Okay, see, my thread 1 of, what are we passing? Obj, correct? What are we passing? Obj. So obj is what? Reference of the table class, correct? Reference of the table class, reference of the table class. Yeah, see here, so what are we passing here? Obj is what? Reference of the table class. Okay, so my thread 1 of table class reference. Similarly, my thread 2 of table class reference. They are passing. Okay, and then now what we have to do? Start the threads. T1 dot start, T2 dot start. Okay, so like this, when we are doing it, see, the output is not consistent. The output is not consistent because the particular resource over here called as print table is not locked to a particular thread until its complete execution. Okay, so hence we have data inconsistency or output inconsistency problem. Okay, we have output inconsistency problem. Okay, thank you.